Welcome to Not Factory Approved. Today I thought I'd just, in case you don't have the documentation, show you how to put together a drum brake that GM had used for decades. This happens to be a 47 Cadillac, but they were used many times before that. Here's another little wrinkle on my way to the city test, or the provincial test. The rear brakes are sticking. Wheel cylinders have corroded up again, and I've had to put silicone brake fluid in strictly for that reason. That's often what you want to use in a car that sits more than gets used. Expensive stuff, but well worth it. So I put the silicone brake fluid in, and it hardly ever gets used, this car. So I was quite surprised that they were sticking. So I took this wheel cylinder out, and I can move it freely by hand. So I don't think it's a sticking wheel cylinder. What I did find was that this adjuster that sits on the bottom was binding right in there on both ends. So I filed it out slightly so that it fits this shoe. So now it turns easily, whereas before it did not. So that would stop the shoes. The springs would not have enough power to pull the shoes back once they were bound. You can see on this side, there's still a big gap there where it won't go on, about 1/8 of an inch. So I have to file that out a bit too. So I have to do that on the other side, and the problem should be solved. It's been a battle trying to get it ready for this test. GM used this brake system years before 1947 and for many years after. It's a very common rear drum brake setup on GM. Here's this one has a manual parking brake, so there's the cable right there. This shoe here has the clip that holds the cable. So that's the rear shoe. The parking brake lever is inside, facing the backing plate. And this is the retainer here. It goes through this hole. First, need these rods. I have to make sure that they fit smoothly too, since I had the problem on the bottom. And that's clear. And then there's another one, honest. Oh, how things disappear. Be right back. Oh, there it is. Said I'd be right back. Likewise with this one. Does it fit? Yes, it does. So, that's those two. Then this one.
Are you recording?
Yes. What would you like?
Hello, world!
Why am I having so much more trouble? Maybe because I'm in an awkward position. Time for pliers. I think I'm getting weaker, not stronger. See how easy it is. Bleep, bleep, bleep. Time to change positions. This is ridiculous. Tempted to use a side cutter, but then I'll slip and cut the cable. Came off a whole lot easier. Transfer one hand. That's what I really need. Okay, change tack. Let's try it again with 2 pliers this time. What can go wrong? 3 hands, anyone? There's that one. Now, once it's gone that far, I can do that, which I couldn't do before. So a little bit smaller pliers was very helpful. There we go. Tell me. Yep, put it in the wrong way. Ay, ay, ay. Do as I say, not as I do. This has to go that way. And it slips in so much easier. I wonder why. It goes there. So I'll put the back one on first. That usually works out a little easier. But I have to get the pin in there. There. this go in there like that. Now I gotta get the retainer pin on there. That gets this cap at the back. It's good to line up all your stuff first. And then we have this one, the spring, and the retaining clip. Can't see nothing. You can see it's really easy. I'm making it much more difficult than it is normally. Maybe because I'm videoing, who knows. Line it up a bit better. The string rolls away. Finally. Just a little bit wrong position. Just made it miserable. There. That has to sit on the little shelf that's in there. Otherwise it flops down inside. You'll never get it together. So now, this one on the bottom, so the adjuster wheel has to line up with the hole, of course. No, that one needs a bit more filed out yet. That one's okay. Be right back. The battery on this camera is getting very anemic, will not hold a charge, so do what I can here. So this spring, pardon me, spring holds the shoes. So the first one you put in there, and then you could pull it up and over, and if you have a special brake plier, it is the easiest. You can do it with the pliers, but it's a lot harder. So you hook that into the spring, honest. Put this over here. That into the spring. Then you pull till you get it on the peg. You can see how easy it is. Imagine what it's like with the pliers. There you go. And off it comes. That's done. This fits in there. Nice and loose. This goes in next, facing this faces the backing plate. Oh, sorry. The wheel cylinder fits in there. You do that. Then you have this one, and it's just the same as the back side except different. Put that in there. Put that in the spring. Sorry, in there. This goes in there, and that's it. And you put the clips on, you put the adjuster in the bottom with the gear towards the hole, the access hole, and that's how it's done. So I'll finish it off and then I'll step through each part. So one thing I did neglect to do is that these are spring protectors. Have to go on the shoe. Watch my every move. So that goes in there, and that protects the spring against the backing plate. I don't think every GM car uses them, but this vintage certainly did. One thing I do have to check is make sure that those springs don't have an order. Well, they go on. Shouldn't matter, but I've been wrong before. Get out of there. You get in there. You get in there. Spring. Whew. Finally, let's go find what went rolling around. Let's try this again. This goes on the peg. Sorry about that. It has a step in it. The manual doesn't really show, but I believe the front one is a little more floppy than the back one. But the back one has the handbrake pulling on it. But the handbrake pulls on it pretty much pulling it in, if anything. So I'm going to put the step at the front. And the springs go the way I had them. I don't think that makes much difference, but I try to do things properly. Hook it and pull it. Come on. But you gotta get to where you get them. Come on. Wasn't that hard before. Okay, that's up against it. Another thing to watch is here. Make sure that those bend down slightly, or as the shoes wear, they'll pop over the top. Just a really slight bend. Nothing serious. There. Hooray. It seems to be easier to get those on if you do them before the retaining clips. There. So in the backing plate now, it's all pulled in. This goes here, and it is actually easier sometimes to put this spring and the adjuster in first, but being the way I am, I'm going to try it this way. Spring not only holds them together, it forms a restriction for the adjuster so it'll hold position. I know I've made this clear as mud. Sorry about that. I've actually done lots of these types of brakes, just not for a while. So make sure that everything is in the correct position, that these pistons fit in their slots, the springs wrap around. Manual says the front one first, but they don't. I should actually see if they describe that or not. That's the picture, and I like to look at pictures. This spring here allows this not to jam. And then the spring on the bottom, it's easiest, again with the brake tool, pulling it with this hook. And then you can get it started and then use the pliers just to push it through. Or a little hammer, or tap it with something on the outside. These appear to be easier to get on. I haven't tried that before actually. I always used to put these on first. But it seems to be easier if you do it second. Do the spring, then do this. So, and then this plate slides, and I think its main function is to stop the front shoe from pivoting back. The rear shoe is kind of automatic because the handbrake is there. It's not going to tend to pivot as much. That's my theory anyway. Usually there's a rivet or something here. This one has a bolt and a nut. Bolt and a nut and a locking nut. So let's put that together and see if the brakes are any better. And then make sure that this adjuster slides easily on the shoes. I'm pretty sure that's why it was binding before. Now, these used to have a flat bleed screw without the nipple, and I tried to keep it original. So I just took this Zerk, popped the ball out of it, that's the one-way valve, tapped the originals and put it in that way. If I really want to make it original, I can then just unscrew these ones. But in the meantime, so to bleed it, I have to loosen this one. So I'll loosen that, and then I'll use my one-man bleeding system, which is here, which I've shown in another video. And it's a flexible bottle, so you can squeeze the air out of it. Attach this to the bleed screw here. Where is it? There it is. And then open it up and watch the air come out. Here goes, resting on the tire as the tripod at the moment. So put that on there, squeeze the air out of the bottle. Now it's got suction. Hold the suction. Make sure there's enough fluid in the master cylinder. Open it. And let go of the bottle. See some air coming out now. Just gonna open it up a bit more. That's coming off. And wait till there's no more air. And it helps if you have a loop up as well, because the air tends not to get pulled back. Very few bubbles now. Guess I have to cut the hose, make it tighter again. Little tiny bubbles. Oh, there's a big one. I think we're clear. I don't see any more coming out. So lock it up. Okay, let's try that. Now I find a problem with the front brakes. Why do these things never show up until it comes time to test the thing? So here we are at the front, and there it is, and it's gone crazy. Sometimes the front brake drums rub and sometimes they don't, as in on the backing plate. So more digging to be done. But that's for another video, because I'm still scratching my head. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, or even notify, or any of the above, or all of the above. Thank you.